On July 16th, Toronto's Rockcliffe neighborhood was hit hard by flooding. The major storm dumped around 100 millimeters of water on parts of the city in just a few hours. And few places were soaked more than this neighborhood, which suffers from perennial flooding. Sarah McVee's home in the neighborhood flooded too, and it flooded again a month later.
The entire place had sewage backup water, so had to be completely cut and dried out.
I thought it was going to be dry today.
She's still cleaning up from the storms, with some of her belongings out in her yard. Since she bought the home in 2021, McVee has been flooded each summer. She's installed a backwater valve, a rain garden, and 2 sump pumps.
So you have the so-called gray infrastructure, and you have the green infrastructure.
Yeah.
And you're still getting hit.
Oh yeah. I can't keep it out of my house. I mean, I'm not joking when I say, should I build a cement kind of barricade? Because this whole system is pounding my house. And what ends up happening during a storm, like it did this summer, is the sewage backing up through the Toronto pipes. My 2 sump pumps are working like crazy, processing it. So I'm starting to feel like I'm a water sewage processing corner.
And Rockcliffe is far from the city's only neighborhood that suffers from chronic floods. A few kilometers to the east in Winston Park, Lunford Grant says he and his neighbors were hit hard by the July 16th flood. His home suffered thousands in damage, and this is his 3rd flood in a decade.
We're preparing for every 5 years. Because we notice it's every 5 years it comes.
Every 5 years.
Every 5 years.
You expect you're going to get it.
Yeah, when you see the rain come and in the 5-year term, you know it's gonna come.
To him, the solution is clear.
Fix the infrastructure. The old infrastructure can manage the amount of water that's coming through.
And the city does have a plan for both Rockcliffe and Winston Park. The city's basement flood protection program creates custom mitigation plans for neighborhoods. City staff estimate that to do all the work across Toronto, it'll cost $18 billion. So far, the city's done just over $1 billion of that work. Critics of the program say when City Council created it, they imposed guidelines that keep the majority of the work on a deferred list. So about $5.5 billion of the needed work qualifies for the program. That leaves over $12 billion on the shelf, including Winston Park.
Well, people send me pictures of what their basements look like, and they look like swimming pools.
Councillor James Pasternak represents the community. The fix there would cost city taxpayers $9.5 million. But because it doesn't meet the financial guardrails, the work won't move forward.
It's not the way we run a city. We don't discount ambulance calls or fire services call because they may live in a far end of the city or further from the station. Everybody deserves city services and the protection of their homes.
The city needs to build more flood mitigation infrastructure across Toronto, this expert says.
We need money to be put towards flood control systems, dams and reservoirs, flood control structures and barriers such as dikes, berms, diversion channels, cisterns, and holding ponds. We need to complement structures by retaining and restoring natural infrastructure, wetlands, grasslands, and forested areas.
And while the residents of Winston Park wait, there has been good news for the people in Rockcliffe. The city and federal government will partner to build flood mitigation measures totaling more than $320 million. But that work and the solution are still years away. McVee says she wants help to do more now.
So I'm not going to lose hope and I'm not going to lose energy, but I do think there are things that the city can do to help us on our properties to keep their sewage and wastewater out.
Shawn, Jeffords, CBC News, Toronto.
This rain garden here is something that I